Okay, on today's show, Asda appears to be ripping people off, a lottery outrage, and Tesco is screwing us once again. Let's begin. The article says that Asda customers say that they were charged twice for their shops at stores hundreds of miles away. Several customers at a Wakefield store claim that they did their usual food shop, but then they were charged again twice on March the 24th, 220 miles away in Essex. Other shoppers were also charged again in Lancaster, 100 miles away from the Yorkshire City store, and one customer who complained said that Asda told them that it would rectify the problem and any money taken in error would be refunded within 10 days. But many shoppers could not afford to be out of pocket for that long, and they were left feeling distressed. Was no surprise, is it? Customer Ruth Barnett fumed, "I'm wondering how many people don't know that they were charged again. You might not notice smaller charges coming out, but it was only because I went through a statement or else I wouldn't have known. People are struggling as well and don't have money to spare even if it's paid back." Another shopper, Kelly, explained that the second transaction came out of her account 21 days after her shop. It started when I went into the Wakefield store on March the 5th and made two transactions, one for £104 and 7p and the other one for £27.98, she said. Then on March the 24th, both of these payments were taken again by Asda Shrewsbury Nurse and Asda Lancaster. But an Asda spokesperson said, "It doesn't look like any of these payments have been taken from customers, and the pending charge that some customers have said appeared has also come off their accounts." Of course, I don't know if it's just me, but personally, I kind of think that Asda spokesman just wasn't too bothered about it. I mean, presumably he hasn't had the same thing happen to him, and no doubt would have probably been bothered about it if it actually did. Whilst we've only got these people's word to go on, there are more than one of them, aren't there? And in different places in the country, so it kind of looks like Asda has got a big problem and needs to deal with it sooner rather than later. Otherwise, they'll need a lot more than reward points to satisfy them. But there's just no excuse for this, is there? Especially in the middle of a cost of living crisis. I mean, can you imagine if we all started to do something similar? I've paid for this in Asda Norwich, so I'll tell you what, I'll just walk into Asda Great Yarmouth and therefore I must be entitled to it free again. No doubt, of course, they'll probably have something to say about that and more than likely give us a criminal record in the process. Because it's a big company like Asda that is experiencing the error, we all just have to put up with it, don't we? And as it said in the article, have to wait up to 10 days for either the pending transaction to come off your account or for a refund, when presumably we wouldn't be able to use that money at all during that time. It's just absolutely disgraceful. Now, of course, I'd like to think these are isolated incidents, but anything that did come out should be paid back with interest, in my opinion, because why should we be out of pocket for their mistake? It just doesn't seem right to me. Especially now in the middle of a cost of living crisis when, let's face it, supermarkets seem to be putting up their prices every time you go in there, it seems. Whilst, of course, giving us a lovely smile in the process just after we've paid. A woman is embroiled in a High Court fight over whether she is entitled to a national lottery prize of either £10 or, wait for it, £1 million. Joan Parker Gurman, who pronounced that right, sued Camelot after a system error led to her to be told that she had won £1 million, but the company disputes her claim and says it is only liable to pay out £10. Miss Parker Grenman had played online after buying an instant win game ticket on August 25th, 2015. Camelot says the premise of the game was that if a number in your numbers section of the screen matched one in the winning numbers section, the two matching numbers would turn white, indicating the player had won a prize. The company says that at that point, Mrs. Parker Grenman bought her ticket. It's the computer system predetermined her prize to be £10. Two numbers with a designated prize of £10 were highlighted on Mrs. Parker Grenman's screen with a message saying, "Congratulations, you have won £10. But Mr. Justice J was told two other matching numbers with a designated prize of £1 million also appeared due to a technical issue. The court heard between August 25th and 26, 2015, there had been technical issues which could result in different graphical animations being displayed on some players' screens. Barrister Philip Hicks, leading Camelot's legal team, argued that the operator was only liable to pay the outcome of the ticket as predetermined by Camelot's computer system, and he said that was £10, not £1 million. Barrister James Cruiser, representing Mrs. Parker Grenman, said there was no real prospect of the claim being successfully defended, though. Well, so much for online games and things like that being random, eh? If it's predetermined. There's obviously a massive difference between 10 quid and £1 million, so it's no wonder why she's taken up the legal issue, especially if she was told that she won £1 million and the things were on her screen to indicate that. I mean, can you just imagine if it was a printed ticket instead and you went down to newsagents and got your lucky dip, as they like to call it, went home, checked the winning lottery numbers and thought, yes, I've done it, I've got £1 million or whatever it is going to be. And then you ring up Camelot get all excited and they say, oh, sorry, hang on, no, that lucky dip was not the predetermined lucky dip for your ticket. I'm afraid that code comes up to just £10. I mean, it's got to be a major kick in the gonads for anyone, isn't it? So I'm guessing they probably actually wouldn't be able to get away with that as it's printed on the ticket. But surely this is a sort of similar thing because it's shown up on her screen. I'm guessing anyway, so presumably whether it's predetermined or not, what shows up on the person's screen must count for at least something, if not the actual amount shown. No doubt, of course, Camelot is bound to have something buried in their terms and conditions, which, to be honest, in my opinion, is a bit disgraceful because people work hard for their money, so if they choose to try their luck on the lottery, hoping of course to make a better life for themselves, then people should have faith in the system that if they are told that they're entitled to a certain prize, whether it's an error or not on Camelot's part, they should be paid that prize. Because let's face it doesn't exactly paint Camelot in a good light, does it? And therefore, you would think that they would at least come to some sort of agreement with the amount. Personally, I think they should do the right thing and honour it, because let's face it, they're not exactly short of a couple of pounds, are they? And at the end of the day, that is their error in the first place, isn't it? It's not the customer's fault that she was told that she won £1 million, is it? Some people are bound to say, of course, that, well, this happened in 2015, that is about 8 years ago. How come it's taken this long for her to come forward? But sometimes things going through courts do take a lot of time, especially over the last 3 years, and let's face it, we all know why that is, don't we? Tesco is set to make another big change to its Clubcard points, and drivers will be livid. From June the 14th, you will only collect 1 point for every 2 litres of fuel you buy. As it stands, you get 1 point for every £2 of fuel you buy. The current average cost of a litre of unleaded in the UK is £1.46.38 according to the RAC, so 2 litres would roughly cost £2.92. This means that the majority of people will be getting less Clubcard value from buying fuel. The change, though, excludes Esso filling stations with a Tesco Express store. For Tesco Bank customers, the number of points you collect will also depend on whether you use your card to collect points for fuel or pay for fuel, or both. Naomi Willis from Skint Dad, a money-saving website, told The Sun, Tesco's decision to reduce the Clubcard points on fuel purchases is disappointing news for its loyal customers who rely on savings to spend on food or have a treat throughout the year. It's important for retailers to consider the impact their actions have on customers and strive to provide the best value possible, especially during these challenging times. And it comes after Tesco has announced that it's reducing the value of Clubcard vouchers spent with reward partners. Also from June the 14th, Clubcard vouchers will only be worth double their value if exchanged for any Tesco rewards partners, down from 3 times their value. And therefore, of course, it means that they won't be able to go as far as they used to at Alton Towers, Pizza Express, and of course, Hotels.com. For any people who want a dirty weekend, I'm guessing. The Tesco spokesperson said Clubcard unlocks the best value from Tesco, from thousands of exclusive prices through Clubcard prices to money off your groceries and fuel, or accessing as much as double the value of your vouchers with more than 100 Clubcard reward partners. Well, hopefully someone should at least be able to teach that Tesco spokesperson a little bit of maths, because surely he's unaware that double is actually less than triple. So therefore that surely is a massive cut in benefits for his customers, isn't it? But it just makes me wonder what they're going to do next. Maybe, who knows, they'll bring the 1 point for every £2 spent to Tesco stores where people can earn points on their shopping, thereby bringing it in line with their old petrol prices. And if of course they did that, it would actually reduce it by half. And whilst of course that may sound likely, I guess it could actually happen, because let's face it, they didn't seem to have a problem with taking a third off your reward tokens, did they? I'm guessing the reason why they've done something like this is probably because of the way fuel prices increased not so long ago, but surely they're coming down a bit now compared to at least 3 or 4 months ago, so therefore people aren't earning as much Clubcard points because they're saving money on fuel. But to me it seems like they're putting profit ahead of the customer, because think about it, from the June the 14th we'll of course earn less points for our spend on fuel, and then we've got enough to actually spend them on a reward or voucher or whatever. You'll only get twice as much compared to 3, which if anything, rather than being welcoming and trying to be on the right side of the customers and save them a bit of money like they're sort of trying to do with their customer Clubcard prices at the minute, it kind of comes across as, I don't know, being kicked in the gonads twice with a stiletto heel, rather than enticing people to come into their stores or indeed petrol stations. But of course what they're not thinking about is this could affect them more than they realise, because a lot of people do actually go to Tesco's purely because they feel like they're getting some sort of reward with not only their customer Clubcard prices, but also because of the rewards and vouchers to spend on things through their Clubcard points. And if they're not going to get as many, or told their points were going to be worth less, then who knows, they might go to somewhere else, like Asda or Sainsbury's maybe. And in which case that'll be all your fault, Tesco, for being greedy in my opinion. So if anything, Tesco and actually every other company out there should be careful, because if they take the P too much, then people just won't stand for it. Just like in this video with 350,000 pensioners who have rebelled over something unfair. And to be honest, I can't say I blame them. Anyway, subscribe for more and I'll see you in the next one.